we have received 2 quotes for automatic doors, locks for Jackson Road Station, Clyde Depot, Edward Station, Summerall Station, Carson Station, Bassville Station, and Prentice Gateway. The locks that were quoted do not need Wi-Fi to be in operation. It will actually be to a power box. I thought they were a satellite.
He told me, when I met with him, that we'll be running off of 120.
We'll run off of 120.
With the time.
With a timer and stuff in it, so it's set times.
Now, looking at these quotes, and y'all was the one that got these, and I'm trying to
Quite a big,
understand.
about $8,000.
The paper I got only shows $3,632. Is that per door?
That's per door.
They did it per door and did not do all doors.
Yes.
I think it's per bathroom.
Per bathroom.
Per door on.
2 doors.
So it'd be 6, well, maybe, it's, let me see, he
It's
told me.
per station.
Yeah.
Per station.
Okay.
If you say it's per station, you multiply by how many.
7, I think.
Because there's 7 on this.
So let's do.
This quote is for single low applications. All bathroom buildings will be the same price. So basically what we got is 7.
I guess 25 range.
It's roughly 23, 25 grand.
Yeah. So when we look at these 2 quotes, we have a quote of roughly $25,000 to do these, and we have security blankets with a quote of $12,000. Do I have a motion to approve the motion?
I got questions.
Okay.
Y'all may have answers.
Do we need motion before you ask questions?
Well, your motion's gonna be to approve it.
Right.
So if you got questions, you better ask before you approve it. So is there like a centralized controller that will control 7 bathrooms?
No, so it's just simply running off the 120, so you'll have a box in the back with a timer on it that's running off your power. You'll be able to set your timer in the back, and that's gonna run your 2 door locks. There'll be an exit button on the outside and inside. That way if somebody was to get locked in there after they lock, they could get themselves back out.
And then you have the ability to change each station when you so choose, but you gotta go to that station.
Probably so, yes.
Okay.
That's what I got out of what he told me. It's pretty much why I have to set the timers.
And does this also replace the gateway one with new?
No.
No.
So we're gonna leave gateway the way it is, and we'll update the other 7.
Yeah.
Y'all like the gateway?
Yes, I mean, it's
It's
fine.
functional.
I mean, this morning there was somebody chalked it, before they closed, that way they could get in and go back home. But that's just gonna happen with automatic locks. I mean, There's nothing you can do to stop that unless you come in behind somebody and fix it yourself.
So we're able to change that without having to go on location. We can change them times by hour.
Yeah, they're out.
So gateway will be on one system, the other 7 will be on a different system. And are there annual fees or anything associated with this, or is this all like hardwired?
No, it's just hardware.
Okay.
So,
And there's like a manual controller that you can have.
There'll be a box,
manual-
we'll have a lock on it.
Okay.
Just like the rest
So
of
if we
it.
lose power, we lose,
Lose power, that's the one, that's the
that's the
thing.
thing.
But this is the only one that's actually on Wi-Fi. This one is on our Wi-Fi. And so.
But y'all can, the other side, you can lock remotely still, even though it's not on Wi-Fi?
Right. It's
The
gonna be just
problem
hardware.
is that we can manually open it up.
Right.
What you will be looking at, you will have to set times, but you may set it for 6 o'clock every morning.
Right.
But it's probably at some point in the afternoons, you might set it at 7:45 until they get accustomed to that time, and you move it back to 6:30 because they'll come in and block the door. So yeah, it's always a guessing game of what they find the next morning.
And it can be adjusted seasonally too.
It will be
Earlier in
adjusted.
the morning.
Winter time,
later,
sometime.
yeah.
It will be adjusted seasonally, and that's the good thing
Oh,
about it.
yeah, that's right.
That's a good thing about this. But, and I think he's ready to, once we approve this, he's ready to start installing possibly next week. Y'all have to do some
They
work.
said they'd have to order their material, it'll be a week, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks at the very most, and they'll be ready to roll.
I'm full of dumb questions. Are all the bathrooms single holes, forgive my phrasing, but that's all I'm gonna call it, are they single holes except for the gateway, which is double holes?
Talking about the
The
lock
locks.
system.
No, I'm talking about the bathrooms, never toilets anymore.
Oh, shit. The only bathroom we have that's a single is Clyde.
Okay, so for, and again, these are dumb questions, I know that. Couldn't we remove the deadbolt from the ones that are not single holes because you have a barrier where, you know, it's like the one here gateway, right? There's a sink, there's a wall, and then there's toilets behind it. And y'all are clearly having issues with people locking the deadbolt, which is manually controlled, and locking themselves in the gateway bathroom without them use it. What would prevent us from taking that deadbolt off?
Nothing. I mean, we could take the deadbolt off and just let the automatic locks lock.
Wouldn't that make y'all's life easier?
Yeah, but they'll still find, yesterday, 2 days ago, I found a big piece of metal, they just.
Oh, they're smart, right? And they'll
Yeah, they'll figure something out.
But like, that'll at least remove one strategy they have for locking themselves in.
I'm all for it if y'all are for it.
I had told them this
Yeah.
morning to remove the
Yes.
deadbolt.
You had it all.
Yeah, he did tell us that.
When they called and said, what happened, I said, remove the deadbolt, we don't need it, remove it. Let them come up with something else and let's figure out what they're gonna come up with.
How soon can we actually have this happen? We vote on today, how soon can this
Just
happen?
as soon as they get the part, they gotta run some 220 lines, they're gonna start on that. Is my understanding. My understanding.
Yeah, once they mount their stuff, we'll run a pilot.
Yeah. So they'll mount it, they'll get their stuff in, so hopefully 2 weeks,
I'm good with it.
hopefully 2 weeks. So now with that discussion, do I have a motion to approve the $12,600 and some dollars to security blanket for the bathroom?
So moved.
Second motion, second, all in favor?
Uh,
All right.
Okay. Okay.
But then we want to have a conversation about times.
Yeah.
Times on these bathrooms. Now we control them all.
Yeah.
We need a board conversation about what time. Now you may change it 3 or 4 minutes every day, right?
Yeah.
But generally speaking, we need to have a conversation about what times we have an established board policy. We heard a lot of feedback on that issue.
We will, that's what I'm saying, we're gonna have to figure out what they do, and I just made that comment. We can start out at 6 o'clock in the morning, that's no problem. It's just getting daylight. That opens
Yeah, because
up.
hopefully this will come into our next board meeting, we'll already have it on there, so let's, what do you say, let's go ahead and make sure we understand that, if that doesn't work, we address it and come back.
Yeah, we can get some more feedback once we get.
Right, so,
No, the
11
next
to 6
board meeting.
suggestions from y'all?
Yeah.
Close, what
Well,
time?
I think, I know you have to change it on a daily basis if you went from sunrise, sunset. So I would say just approximate it.
Right.
I bet you can.
Like in the evening, I'm
And
saying,
then periodically
it's a good time in the
change
evening.
it. Evening gets on.
Like a good time on the evening. We know 6 is good in the morning, but what's a good time?
Maybe 7
In the evening.
She gets to work at 5. She gets to work at
I try
5.
to get here by 5.
Yeah.
So, you know,
7:30 or 8, I'd say.
what time do y'all get to start getting to the bathroom?
I started summer between 5, 5:30, just depending when I'm
Started
picking up
early.
and going places.
I changed my times up.
Let's say 7:30.
Yeah, just in case I'm
Night.
trying to catch, you know.
7:30 at night, we can keep it at 6 in the morning?
Yeah.
We'll do 6 a.m.
That's right. 6
6 or 7:30, that's good.
Y'all got the program the first time anyway. So we start with 6 to 7:30.
So, yeah. So,
That's basically what I said, we gotta find out what they figure out, we just gotta set a time.
I would do 30 minutes before sunrise and 30 minutes after sunset. It's still daylight,
There you go.
cracking daylight and
That's,
control.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, we're in charge of it. so-
That's why 5:30 to 8.
5:30.
Yeah.
Whatever the time is.
Yeah.
I think you get your already.
You go get your phone and they'll tell you 30
Right.
minutes before and 30 minutes after.
Right.
And it's still just barely getting light at those times, so that'll.
So can we make a motion, and I'm asking you to, I ain't telling it, it would be okay to make a motion to the board to say that we will establish that as a general board policy. So if anybody has any questions about times, we can say, our board policy is roughly 30 minutes before sunrise till 30 minutes after sunset.
Excellent.
Roughly, because it's gonna change within a month, so.
All right, y'all
I think
try.
they're changing weekly and it's
Right,
just too much
right,
going on, you know, so.
right.
They're gonna- That's gonna be our initial goal, 5:30 to 8, just say, but that 8 o'clock is gonna change.
I like the sunset, sunrise.
Sunset at 8:05 right now.
But it's gonna change. and
It's gonna change in the winter.
Then let's go like that.
Also, whenever they start coming there, they're gonna start pulling on the door to see what time, they're gonna try to get there before it closes to get in so they can get themselves locked in.
All right, so I'll make a motion that the staff tries to do roughly 30 minutes before sunrise until 30 minutes after sunset, for in terms of the times and your programming needs, and they have staff discretion to go, you know, up and down a little bit.
I'll second that.
We should pretty much only have a summertime and a wintertime set, really.
Yeah.
5:30.
Everybody good?
Just make sure y'all communicate.
We seconded it, we all,
We'll vote on it, we will.
Okay.
Call for vote.
We all, you know, vote, hey.
yeah, he made a
Got
motion,
a
he
motion
seconded
on
the
the time
motion, we all.
frame, giving the maintenance guys the time to start it. They will adjust accordingly to what they're finding out there.
Yep,
Is that correct? Is that correct, sir?
that sounds right.
Okay. All right, we have had a ton of information thrown up on us today. And what I would like to do is try to make this work that we can get with law enforcement. We can't give a lot of answers right now to anything. I want to go sit down with the sheriff department, the police chief in Summerall was supposed to have been here. Something happened, he didn't make it. I saw the guy, he must have got a call from Lamar County. So I would like for us to go in and take all this information and let's come down and sit down and do a plan. I think you're agreeing with that. If we get these locks on these bathrooms this month, we start getting a pattern of what's going on, and we can also get a pattern of what the police will and won't do. So I'm going to ask each person in their county or their city to talk with the sheriff, the police chief. I know the mayor's, well, yours is county, and yours is, you do have a police chief. I will be working, these will be working with Forest County. We will take all this information, everybody's heard everything you said, come back, put it all together and put hopefully a foolproof plan that will work from now on. Does anybody disagree with that?
Is that on water fountain specifically, Dale?
That's on the whole thing, water fountains, the bathrooms, the whole thing, how we're gonna patrol it, because everybody seems to point out today, if we don't have it patrolled, if we can't get it patrolled, and she's agreeing with me, and this is what I'm taking, we can't get it patrolled, it doesn't matter what we do, it's not gonna work.
Right.
Matt,
Yeah.
I do a lot of community work, but I think if you could have a representative, maybe from Pine Belt, and a representative from Visit Hattiesburg, because that deals with tourism.
Right.
And let them get information out for you,
Right.
because they're complaining about the website, and she's not calling it, complaining. And you got tons of people that have documentation of that.
Yes.
You have they're advisory, they're not on the board, they're advisory.
Right.
And then, like where you're staying, but,
Our meetings
And
are other
advisory-
meetings, they're always
They're all
invited to be here.
yeah, but
But she's like, I'm on the advisory committee, see, if you
Yeah,
come into the community trying to work instead of dealing with 500 people, we got about 5 we deal with that are expressing their concerns, which they should do. I'm about to have a major advisory committee to hear from my community, so that I don't have that issue. But 5 strong members that are gonna be there, that's gonna hear from those people that can help us move it. Because we will never move forward on this trace like we need to without all the people sitting
Yeah,
there.
we would
But we
like-
gotta come up with solutions. Removing, I have to say, removing just everything's not the answer either. But a lot of people didn't ask us any questions about what's really going on. I found a dead person in my bathroom. But we also understood we couldn't lock them forever. I worry, I've had people come up, my girls at work, and we would lock it that day if it was really bad. But we couldn't keep them locked forever and then knock on the door. We just had to take more cautious and be careful. Because then we gotta look harder to find solutions and work together.
I shared with Dale, we had the MML this past week, and, if you have Wi-Fi in these places, it opens up lots of possibilities of what you can do. And most of these are located in places that they've never had telephone lines run to them, consequently, there's no Wi-Fi access. So I met with the government liaison, the director for government affairs with Ceasefire, and just a few days ago at the meeting, and of course I was looking for something that was doable, but it wouldn't cost the trail a lot of money to do it, because I know we don't have a lot of money to work with, and I proposed a sponsorship for Ceasefire in return for in-kind services that would locate a little hot box or
What they call a hotspot.
hotspot. And, you could put it in the ceiling of in the attic space or somewhere, put it in a lockbox somewhere in one of the closets. And that would give us access or the means by which to control locks remotely, to have cameras there that could be monitored here by the local sheriff's department. You can monitor them multiple spots. One of the concerns that the lady has was that cameras tie up lots of bandwidth. And of course, that impacts their network and it slows down the system. So I think, when we look at that, of course, 90% of the time, you're looking at nothing. The leaves blowing, or you're looking at the building and nobody's there. So something that's motion activated, that at some time detected activity, that would light them up and use that bandwidth when it's needed. And then those people at the police station here, you can get that on your phone, you can alert the local guys or whatever. So I'm going to continue to pursue that, and there may be a cost involved, but I'm really working the angle that, hey, we can get ceasefire some signage and some advertisement by the trace users and that sort of thing. So I think until we get Wi-Fi at that location, each of those locations, we're going to kind of be fighting fire.
So there's a guy at Hasbro, Dan Byers, who's put in these mobile hotspots connected to, he uses currently a T-Mobile, but I'm sure since Fire, if they're free, that's even better. He uses a combined system that provides a wireless network people use for free internet, and he links 2 or 3 security cameras, depending on how much you're willing to pay for, because they're not cheap, they're a couple $100 a piece. And he links it all to a wireless modem through T-Mobile. And so we put Hasbro downtown 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah.
And so, he's already done the work to figure out the system. If you want to talk to him, he might be a good resource.
Well, I mean, it's really not, a lot of us at our homes or businesses have cameras that are available on our phones or at your desk, at your computer, and that sort of thing. So I'm really, the lifting's been done. You just need Wi-Fi. If you got Wi-Fi, you can tie these camera systems to it and get it down.
Is this a conflict between this, what y'all had just approved, the security?
No, this is,
Future planning.
No, this is, the access to the restrooms is one issue.
Okay.
But with regard to the
But
water
you
fountain,
could control the restrooms with what you were talking about.
well, you certainly could manipulate the timers
Right.
remotely and that sort of thing, if you had Wi-Fi. But the problem is, at Deputy Station, at Carson, at Prentice, all of the stations with maybe 1 or 2
Flash.
exceptions, there's no internet. But a hotspot would solve it.
And we need to come up with a solution about the water, what we're gonna do with it.
well, that's what we've got to look at some other options.
Somebody mentioned.
Mary said a water bottle filling thing.
That, somebody mentioned that it could be locked. Somebody that
I don't
stood
know.
up there said
That's what,
something about locking.
we got, we've got.
Yeah.
We,
I know.
most everybody now are going to the water cooler that you just stick your bottle in it and fill your bottle up.
Well, let me ask this, I was active with Friends of the Trace, and we would like to revise that. And what about if our group, it's like 10 or 12 of us, if we took that on as to research it, come back and give y'all all the information? You can research too, but we can research it and submit.
We just gotta look at what
So
we
right
got
now,
to
they can get
cost.
in the bathrooms and fill it up in the
Right,
bathroom,
okay,
we'll still
so-
try to work toward that.
We'll do that.
That'll work.
We'll
And
research.
there are Wi-Fi controllable
Thank you.
water valves that, if you got Wi-Fi, you could not only monitor the cameras, but at dusk, the water fountain stops working.
I think it's $50 a month that we pay now to have Wi-Fi on this one for these locks. So you can very seriously jump up to
Oh, yeah.
$400 a month that we would have to pay to have Wi-Fi. So that's the reason we've been looking at this other stuff, not to have Wi-Fi to use for the locks. We could go with electrical. If there's gonna be times it's gonna be down.
Who handles your sponsorships?
Mary
handles-
she usually sends all that out every year. And you gotta go through every one of them and find out all the lifetime memories. There were so many that got
But all these
lifetime.
people said that they had never
Yeah,
been
they-
contacted.
They probably hadn't got them this year because like I said, she
No,
got.
they-
No, this is it, not about ever.
He said he'd never been contacted.
I sponsored the last set of the Longleaf Trace projects, That was probably 7 years ago. I've never once been contacted. Y'all, I'm telling you this, I've never once been contacted since. I actually went and signed up. I'm the only, like 40, on that cash register, you can pay 40 or 50 bucks and get approved to trace. I signed up for that one day just to make sure that it worked. And I have never once received an email. I've never once been contacted.
All I know is every year she'd always come in and bring out.
My question was related to what board committee do you have for grant writing and financial fundraising? Do you have a board committee for that?
We have used the group out at the convention center several times on different projects.
Well, I would recommend having a committee for that. I mean, I be having a volunteer. I'm retired and I write grants and I've ran 34 years.
We short
And we need a committee. You really do need a committee for that because then the board has that fiscal responsibility and you can ask your committee on what have we been looking at, where's our sponsorship? And it helps takes away some of that responsibility from one executive director. And you had all these people that are willing to volunteer.
Right.
Put your money where your mouth is, if you're gonna volunteer, volunteer.
I hope and pray, and this is the most frustrating thing I've seen, I hope and pray that the volunteers volunteer and volunteer. And let me say that say they will. We handed keys to people that would lock our bathrooms over the last 2 weeks. How many days did they lock?
None. Well,
One.
Jed unlocked it, but he would lock the men's and then leave the women's unlocked, so just defeated the whole purpose.
So how many days did he do that?
2.
He did it 2 days. That's what happened with our volunteers.
Okay, can you tell me what I need to do, what I need to do to get Friends of the Trace, back up and going? Do I have y'all's approval?
Yes.
I'll help her.
That's always been the case.
So I'm going to,
And I'll-
just put it out.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And I'll look for, and I'll help with fundraising, or we'll give you, she's gonna look at some other things for your water, but I think if we did Friends of the Trace, and you make sure that there are representatives from each of these groups that came out here today, and it'll be part of Friends of the Trace.
And I
You guys
gave
think?
you the list.
Okay,
Most people
what do you guys
want their
think?
email.
I think you need a 3-person committee.
Volunteer.
Well, we're gonna get volunteers to do the work.
Yeah, but I think you need to bring 3 people together. You 2 and 1 more.
Yeah, no, well, probably not be represented, she will, because she's been here for.
But bring 3 people, bring 3 people together. And then at that point, they start, we're looking at stuff and we're trying to figure it out. But the volunteers, the biggest thing we need is pictures. What's going on? All the lots. And they're out. That's the biggest thing.
One thing too, that the guy that was said they're talking about having the arrest, just because you got something on video, does not mean you can identify it.
Can that, something?
And that's been the issue.
Well, I'm glad that you're gonna talk to law enforcement. Bottom line, this kind of thing, you need law enforcement, and you need
Well,
people patrolling.
And the reality is though, what people need to come to is that we don't have a lot of law enforcement. I mean, who wants to be a cop right now with everything going on? And a lot of them, and what they make, especially in our area, I mean, however, they do come in. Like, if that's what we allow them to get on the trail. But you can't catch everything, because there's a lot of activity on the trail.
Prior to the last few years, there would be one county that would come by there almost every day on the trace. I mean, I'd be out there and I'd say, hey, how you doing, whatever.
And Lamar County has continued. They're more at night over there at night. They, like I said, Officer Williamson made 2 different drug busts over behind the voting precinct on the new parking lot off Jackson Road. He made 2 drug busts in there, pretty big, substantial drug busts. So they have been doing something.
I guess it doesn't take much to just drive down there,
And it's something that we might need to look at, are we going to pay for patrol? Because they need extra money, and we always had to pay for security. So even when I did the Hattie 100, I had to pay for security. It's just important that we
With that, well, during the football season, we do pay patrol. But the issue we've been having since they have changed their policies, now the police have to volunteer. We used to have a cop that would come out, we paid him, now we have to go to the police department. No one wants to volunteer to come out here and patrol the trail during the football and baseball games.
Well, and I'm not saying it necessarily has to be law enforcement, like he was saying, you know, I don't know, Mr. Moore or something, but having somebody out there, it keeps your honest person honest. It's not gonna do anything for your homeless and for people who are going to do things illegal. But when you do have people patrolling, it does keep the honest
When
person
there was
honest.
more police presence, we didn't have a lot of these issues.
That is look real college.
Well, I haven't been right there.
No, seriously, it's like people understand.
Do you have any minutes when payment of security blankets is approved by motion?
It's not approved the next month.
Well, we voted to do
It
it.
was supposed to be approved.
Okay, so is it, will you
It
make
was
sure
taken off, taken off.
that we can come to the next meeting?
We approved it.
So the next meeting.
Thank y'all.
We got our charge.
I appreciate y'all.
First Thursday of the month.
Water, yeah, I'm that, and then legislators and senators.
It wasn't-
Y'all have a good night.
Yes,
He uses the trail a lot.
well, I called Johnny, but I called him, they. And first thing, he already,
I'm not telling you that.
Hey, before